And here's some. Here. In the path, they're coming up all over the place. Here they're mixed in with crocuses. Oh, they seem to be all over the place. Wouldn't think there'd be that much growing out here in the snow. Look at all these. There's more on here that just haven't bloomed yet. These here are Siberian squills. These are crocuses. These are crocuses. A lot of crocuses. Coming on. Look what that is. This is an early spring flower. It will be gone before too much longer. It's blooms and it's gone. Here's some more crocuses. I'm hoping these are some alpine strawberries I planted last year. The birds like those, and they reproduce from seed quite a bit. This is red yarrow right here. Lots of purple crocuses. This here is winter alkanite. It's the first one I've seen. I believe this is Siberian squill. Here's some crocuses. This is a crocus, but it's not blooming. This is a tulip. This here is Siberian squill. I've got those all over the place in here. Not quite blooming yet. There's crocuses again. Lots of those. Here's more crocuses. Here's the first daffodil, almost starting to bloom. There's a daffodil blooming, but it looks like the snow knocked it over. I think they just couldn't take the snow. It snowed yesterday. Here's those crocuses I thought were over here. This is coral bells from last year. Make more blooms, or rather come back next year. If it makes seeds, it takes a lot of strength out of the bulb. And as far as fertilizing tulips, with all of my perennials, I fertilize the ground, not the plant. And so one of the things I do to fertilize the ground is provide plenty of organic material. And sometimes I even use a fertilizer. Usually it's Miracle Grow crystals, and I just put it in the container for spraying it with your hose. And you can see right here in the middle of the path, I've got some that are growing in the way. And if you want to move your tulips, I don't dig them up and replant them next year. And they do need a period of cold. So if you live in a warm climate like zone 9 or 10, you'll have to dig them up after blooming and refrigerate them for a few months. But here in zone 5, we don't have to do that. But if I did want to move them, like these ones right here in front, then I wait till they're done blooming, and after they get done blooming, clip off the spent flower. Right in here is where the seeds are formed, but if the bloom is gone, it sends all its energy into the bulb down the bottom. So once the foliage dies back naturally, you leave it until it dies back on its own, and then you can dig up the bulb. And I just go ahead and replant it right away wherever I want to move it to. And I think it is true that bulbs don't come back every year with the same vigor that they had the first year. But I like to have a natural garden. And so I keep them there every year, and as they grow and naturalize. So yeah, right here in my perennial garden, I have all the perennials and the tulips and everything mixed together. I don't go for big swaths of all the same color. I like a nice mixture of perennials, so you don't even know what's coming up, and then you're surprised to see, oh, look what's growing here, because you just keep planting things everywhere. And that's kind of the nice part that I like, is just a surprise of what's coming up here. So I plant things and try to be a natural order. Just hodgepodge everywhere. We had some nice weather, and we've had some cool weather. Right now it's in the 50s. It's been going down in about the 30s every night, and the 50s or 60s in the daytime. The tulips are doing really good, and everything else is starting off. Here's some that are just coming on. Here's all the hyacinths. Here's some hardy lilies down here that are coming on. Lots of stuff coming on. I don't know what it is. I think I remember this had like a yellow flower on top of it. He needs to be blooming by Memorial Day. Lots of hardy lilies coming on. It's amazing how fast those multiply. These tulips over here. And here's more hardy lilies. They're all over the place. Here's more. Now a lot of these tulips I planted last year, But these ones in the center of the aisle, right straight here, I know those been there for several years. So a lot of these tulips are coming back every year. And I think that the way to get your tulips to come back every year is to cut the blooms off as soon as they're done blooming, but also leave the ground like it is. I think one of the worst things you can do to your flower bed is rake the leaves out of it, keep the dirt bare. These leaves and everything, they compost down into the soil, make a really good soil. And so I'm all in favor of leaving the ground alone around your flowers. And what kind of a daffodil is that? What the most I do is come in and pull up stuff I don't like grasses and this creeping Jenny. I need to get out here and pull up more of that. It comes up pretty easy if you just take the time to pull it up. Tulips put on a wonderful show of color here in April. They come in many colors. They come in variegated colors like these. One color I don't see here too much is blue. So we got orange, and yellow, and red. Here's some mixed colors. Look at that, they have collected rain from when it rained this morning. Oh, this is such a pretty orange. Look at that. And here's a purple. I haven't seen too many purples. There's a pretty orange. Look at this one with multiflora. I don't know what you call that. Almost like a rose. And this is winter alkanite right here. Has yellow flowers on the top when it's blooming. Here's some tulips that haven't bloomed yet. Getting close though. This one here is holding water from the rain this morning. There's several more getting ready to bloom. The yellow one. This looks like it's going to be red. Deep red maybe. There are 3 ways that I fertilize my perennial flower garden, and the first one is plenty of organic material. Organic material is things like leaves here, or even these sticks. Anything that was a growing plant returns back to the soil. Compost is great, but I don't actually make separate compost. I just use sheet compost, which means to let it decay where it lays. And another method is the birds. Besides controlling the insect population in your garden, the birds also have bird droppings everywhere, and these are great fertilizer for the garden and the grass. And then when I cut the grass, I put the grass clippings in the garden. A lot of times they're nice around tomato plants or something. And the third way I fertilize is I use Miracle Grow, and I don't know why I've always just chosen that. They have like a applicator you can put on your garden hose, and put the fertilizer on with that. And so those are my 3 favorite ways to fertilize my perennial garden. And I fertilize the soil, not individual flowers, and that's always served me pretty good so far. And when planting tulips, the normal rule is 2 to 3 inches times their height. So like if the tulip is this much, then you would want to add twice that to the top of it, and then you put the pointy end up, and that's how you plant them. And I never dig them up unless I want to move them somewhere else. And if I do move them somewhere else, it's always in the fall, after the foliage, the green leaves die back naturally. You want to never cut them off because they are so necessary for the growth of the bulb, so it can bloom again next year. I would say the most important thing to make your bulb bloom again next year is to leave the foliage on until it dies back naturally. And the second thing to make it sure it blooms again next year is as soon as it's done blooming, cut off the spent flower bloom right below it. So good luck with your tulips, and just remember, never dig them up when they're blooming. Clip off the blooms when they're done. And hopefully if you have a cold enough winter, they'll come back next year.